Guys, I want to know what's going on. Like, what is going on? What recency bias is killing football right now. It's killing football right now. I'm not really understanding what's kind of going on because all I'm seeing is Rodri is better than Sergio Busquets. Busquets. That triggered me. It's been triggering me. I kept it quiet for a hot second. I think this conversation has been, it's been there. It's been in the ether. It's been in the universe. You know what I mean? Every now and again, Rodri will do something and then people will talk about it, but then they keep quiet. And then, you know what I mean? And now Rodri, of course, fantastic performance against France in the semi-final of the World Cup. And everyone's like, oh my God, look at that performance. He's so much better than Sergio Busquets, blah, blah, blah. Let me know your thoughts. Before we even get into it, just let me know your thoughts on the entire matter. So we're talking about you know, two of some of the best players to ever have played in midfield for Spain, right? We're not like they're not like the best players to have played for Spain in that midfield. Obviously, that's Xavi and Iniesta. I think we all know that. Everyone can agree. Cool. We can leave it there, right? So these guys fall underneath that. I'm trying to understand where almost, and I guess you in the comment section would have to, I guess, let me know and get me to understand, because I'm trying to see what is it about Rodri that makes you feel he is so much better, do you know what I mean, than Sergio Busquets. Like Rodri, we'll talk about Rodri, right? Rodri's a player who can do many, many things, right? Absolutely fantastic. And he's elite at many, many things, right? I'm not even going to say he isn't. He has been arguably the best midfielder for, I don't know, when did they win the treble? Like 2023. Let's say the last 4 years, give or take, right? Obviously, he's had an injury in that time. So we'll say 3 to 4 years, right? He's been easily probably the best midfielder. There's been other midfielders who have come into play. So whether that be Vitinha, Pedri, yeah, those, to be fair, it's just really those two, right? So other than those two, there's not really been another midfielder out there in the world of football where you can be like, yeah, nah, Rodri is still head and shoulders above all of these guys and blah, 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 right? So 100% I can put Rodri in that kind of conversation. But doesn't that like give you the context of, and this isn't to diminish Rodri because I think he's been a magnificent. I love Rodri. I think he's a really, really good player, right? World class, all of that, like elite, whatever you want to call it, right? He's that type of guy. I'm just trying to figure out as to why people think he's better than Sergio Busquets. Like Rodri can do many things, as I mentioned. He's good on the ball. He's good off the ball. He's good defensively. He can pass a football. He can dribble. He can do all of that kind of stuff. But we're acting as if Sergio Busquets couldn't do that stuff. Like, I feel like what the people. I think it must come down to you weren't really outside. I think that's how I kind of look at it. Is you weren't really outside when Busquets was actually playing. I think people, and a lot of you who are going to be watching this, right? You're very biased towards obviously the Premier League, and then what then happens is obviously we watch Rodri week in week out, but you weren't watching Busquets week in week out. You watched him Champions League nights, and you watched him when he was playing for Spain, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. So you didn't get to see all of the games that he was playing. I'm going to tell you now, I did. During that period of time, I watched every single Barcelona game. So when we're talking about Barcelona versus Albacete versus Getafe, Espanyol, Osasunas, and all of these kind of same way that you'll be watching, I don't know, Rodri versus freaking Burnley or Southampton or whatever, right? Like the same kind of thing. That's exactly what I was doing. So I was outside. But a lot of you were not outside. And that for me is the bigger problem, is that you weren't outside. So when did you see, like, what are you comparing this to? Like, is it because you've watched Rodri more? So because you've watched him more and because you rate the Premier League so highly, which is fine, cool, you rate it. But because you rate the Premier League so high in your thinking in terms of how good the league is and blah, 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 it's like, oh my day. Like, do you understand the kind of level of midfielders who were about when Busquets was doing his thing? Like, on top of having arguably the two greatest midfielders to ever play the sport in Xavi and Iniesta in the same team, where he didn't even look out of place. He looked like, right, if he wasn't even there, it would have looked a bit peak. Let's put it to you like that. He looked a bit peak. And again, that's not to say Rodri being out of Manchester City's team does not look peak, as we've seen with, I think there was like a graph and chart that mentioned, right, when Rodri doesn't play, and 100%, and you got Kevin De Bruyne, you got Bernardo Silva in there. Those two are also two very, very good players, right? But I'm talking about the other players that these guys were up, like, yo, man was up against like the Tony Cruzes, the Modric, the Casemiros. Like, I'm trying to think of like the Pirlos. Like, we're talking about that era. I could go. The list is long. You're talking about coming up against the Inter Milans, the Bayern Munichs at the time, kind of thing. Forget coming up against PSG of today. I'm talking about those kind of midfielders of back them times. So you're talking about these guys coming up against those type of players, right? And still excelling. Now, 100% systems and this and that, whatever. Rodri's the exact same. In Pep Guardiola's system, you look amazing. In Spain's system, you look amazing. Guess what? Busquets, in Pep Guardiola's system, you look amazing. In Spain's system, you looked amazing. So I'm just trying to understand, like, what is it about Busquets that people like? It's like people, from what I like see and like people talk about, it's like you single him into, yeah. I think I saw someone talk about like, oh, he does a great like pirouette or so. I was thinking, okay, all right, if that's what you believe, then that's what you believe. I guess I can't change your mind, in that kind of thinking. You're talking about a guy who was literally press resistant. Like, you cannot get near him. You can get near Rodri. I can tell you that for free. You can definitely get near Rodri. Like I'm saying, like, you can get near Rodri if you wanted to get near Rodri. That doesn't mean that you're going to win that battle all the time, 100%. You're not going to do that. If anything, Rodri's gonna win that battle more times than not. But you see, with Sergio Busquets, you're like, that battle is a 98-2. Whereas with Rodri, I feel like it's more of a like 70-30, still very high, but 70-30. Whereas that's a 98-2. You're not getting the ball off of him. You're really not getting the ball off of him. Again, it happened, and you could probably count on one hand. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm over exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Like the point that I'm trying to make, right? You're talking about both passing abilities. They're both the exact same. I can't really say who's better at that. I feel like they're both exactly the same. But what I think is a misconception also as well is that we keep looking at the two players as if they did the exact same thing. And that's what I think frustrates me more. And I think that's why people potentially would lean more towards a Rodri, especially in today's day and age, and especially because you didn't watch Busquets. As I'm kind of gathering from the way people are talking about, you didn't watch Busquets like that. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, you were so focused on players like Xavi, Iniesta, the guys who were, would I say, more in the limelight, the guys who it looked like they were doing more things, within the team. Do you think that Barcelona team, without Sergio Busquets in there, as great as it was, you think that midfield works with anybody else? I think that's what people believe is like, yeah, anybody else could have just gone it. No, it doesn't work like that. It really, same way with Rodri as well. It doesn't work like that without these type of players. But the way people talk is if, yeah, I could have just taken Busquets out and then just thrown anybody. No. It doesn't work like that, people. 100%. It does not work like that. Like, having Busquets in that middle of the park, and bearing in mind, you're talking about some skinny, lanky guy. Yeah, whereas Rodri, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's quite stocky. You could tell you could see he's a strong player. He's a good runner on the ball, difficult to get the ball off. Busquets doing the same thing. Busquets is doing the exact same thing, and he ain't even got the frame or the build of a player like that. But I promise you, can't get the ball off him. When it comes to the passing, again, they're both more or less the same. The dribbling, both more or less the same. But Rodri's the onus, should I say, on a player like Rodri, for me, when I'm looking at him in his time, obviously at Manchester City, right? Obviously, I think when he's come into Manchester City, obviously, what's his name? Fernandinho was obviously there, so it's about taking over him. And I think the role that he had back then was a little bit different, a bit more defensive, more than anything else. Can you cover ground and all of that kind of stuff? You're not asking Sergio Busquets, yeah, can you cover here? Can you cover there? The system didn't need all that. They kept the ball for about 90% of the game, so you weren't covering ground in the same kind of way, right? But when it came to things like, for someone like Rodri, if you're talking about, do I need a goal? I'm asking Rodri 100%. I'm not even debating that. But they never needed to ask Busquets to score a goal because they got a fucking team that could do all of that for him. His job is very, very like specific within the kind of team. But Rodri, 100%. Rodri, can you pop up with those late goals? Can you be a match winner? I feel like that's what it is that people put over, because it can't be ability. It really can't be ability. Like, as in, I will fight you tooth and nail over that. It cannot be the ability, because there's no way that you've watched the two players and said, yeah, Rodri's got better ability than Busquets. I ain't even trying to hear any of that, right? So it must be things like, and I guess these are the things that I can understand to a certain degree. I disagree, but I can understand when you're talking about match winner, game by the scruff of the neck. And I feel like people like those type of midfielders. That's absolutely fine, but they're not asking Busquets to do that. They're asking Busquets, brother, when we're playing in our system and we're doing the tiki taka and we're playing 2 yard passes kind of thing, but the 2 yard passes are like, yeah, if you don't make that pass, they will intercept, and he's not losing it. Yeah, we need that. Can I say Rodri? Yeah, he can do that. I don't think he can do it to the same kind of level as a Busquets, but he can definitely do that. So when we're looking at the two players, that's why I'm just like, you're trying to debate between two players who I feel were doing two different jobs within their teams, even for Spain. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Again, even in that Spain team, when you look at the two players, Busquets, again, you've got Xavi, you've got Iniesta, you've got Fabregas, you've got Alonso, you've got other players in the team who are there to do the other stuff, right? They're there to be the match winners. They're there to, what I say, take control. They're there. He isn't there for all of that. He is the mop. For me, he was always like the mop in the team. He was like, yeah, I'll clean up all of this stuff for you guys. I'll clean up all of this stuff, and guess what? We're gonna play from here. We're gonna play from here. We're gonna do the 1-2s. We're gonna do this, the rondos, essentially, on the pitch. But the rondos are starting with him at the base, kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, that makes total sense. That makes total sense as to why you would do that, right? Because again, you've got the other players in the team who are going to move around and do this and kind of do that. But yeah, it's the disrespect that I hear on Bush. I'm thinking, bro, like, just say you didn't watch him like that. Just say, listen, from what I've seen, I think in fact, it'll be better if people said it like that. From what I've seen of Sergio Busquets, because then that kind of lets me know you haven't seen a lot. Again, I'm not expecting everybody to have seen him a lot. That's fair enough. Not everybody watched Barcelona and Real Madrid during those kind of peak areas. And when I say watched, I'm not talking the El Clasicos. I'm not talking Champions League. Forget those games. Those games ain't gonna even tell you too much outside of what you already know. I'm talking those other games, the same games that you're watching for Rodri, the Burnleys, as I mentioned, the Southamptons, the game away against Brentford kind of thing where he might ball out in those games. Yeah, calm. I'm talking about all of those kind of games. So when you're watching those kind of games, you can just see that type of quality. You can do it against the highest opposition level out there, whoever that would have been at that period of time. And then you can do it against those other kind of teams. That's absolutely fine. But I just think the disrespect that Sergio Busquets has been getting is just, it's ridiculous. And like I said, I feel ultimately that it just boils down to people love it's this kind of thing in it in football, and like you all love yeah, he's a match winner. He can, like I said, you take the game by the scruff of the neck and all of these kind of things, like, and all those things, bro, that they are fantastic things to have. I would never say that it's not great to have. I hear all of that. I fully hear all of that. But you see the game that Busquets is playing with the elite midfielders that he, listen, I love Kevin De Bruyne. I love Bernardo Silva. They ain't even close to Xavi and Iniesta, right? So you playing in that team and him playing in this team and still not even looking out of place. Come on, man. Like, you have to, like, this disrespect needs to stop. It needs to stop. 100%. I don't mind if you prefer the type of player that Rodri is. That's absolutely fine. I'll always pick Busquets. But then again, I would always pick Busquets alongside Xavi and Iniesta because that midfield three just works. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I don't know what a midfield of like Rodri and, I don't know, Vitinha and Pedri would look like. I don't know. Is it going to look great? I don't know. I really don't know. Right. So it's just one of those kind of things. But yeah, for me, like I said, it's just the disrespect, and I'm just not feeling it at all. I'm really not feeling it. But I would love to know. I would really love to know, where do you guys sit on I don't want to hear you're sitting on the fence. This one, it can't be sat on the fence. I'm sorry. Can't be getting no splinters. Yeah, like, we have to forget that. You need to pick a side. Are you either team Rodri or are you either team Busquets? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Now I finish my rant. Keep the same energy. Stay blessed. I'll catch you guys real soon. Peace, man.